Namaskar, welcome to Sansad TV, and you're watching our special program on India in Samvaad on building strategic relation between India and Finland today. And this is your host Manish Kumar. Let me tell you, India and Finland have a great relationship, and for talk about that we have a special guest today, Mr. Kimmo Lähdevirta, Ambassador of Finland to India. Finland is the greenest country in the world. People live with nature in the forest, and that is their way of life for them. A good model to look at in our quest for the development and sustainable environment. Remarkably, Finland ranks among the highest in terms of innovation in many areas, especially cutting-edge research in telecom, on 6G and energy. As per the Global Innovation Index, GII, Finland is consistently among the top 10 most innovative countries in the world. Finland is a key partner of India in the European Union. India and Finland are forging a strategic dialogue encompassing crucial areas like digitization, education, sustainability and innovation, what we call DESI, as we fondly call this approach. Ambassador himself coined this. Let me begin asking you, Ambassador, India and Finland have established strategic partnership and relationship. Where do we stand now in terms of overall assessment, if you can talk about? Ambassador Kimmo, please.
Well, I think really the partnership between Finland and India is flourishing. And we have very good cooperation in the sectors that you mentioned, technology, energy and research. And really the concept that we like to call DESI gives a very good, let's say, perspective to the areas that we see as the most relevant in our cooperation. And I think what is also very relevant is the number of Finnish companies who are active here in India is growing. It's now something around 100 companies. We also have some 20 companies, Indian companies in Finland. Our bilateral trade, counting both goods and services, imports and exports, it's something like 3 billion euros per year. And also, I think what's important is that the investments from Finland to India are something like 4 billion euros now, and Indian investments in Finland about 1 billion. So I think we have made significant progress during the years, but obviously there's still more to do and more to grow.
When we talk about Finland, Ambassador Kimmo, this question is so important. The energy part comes on the top of that. Finland takes lead in terms of sustainable energy, renewable energy and green energy you're talking about. I like to understand more on this, the Finland initiative within the country and globally, what Finland is doing, especially in this particular area. Then we come to the India part.
Yeah, I think what is important in Finland is that the government has early on decided that we want to become, for example, carbon neutral already by 2035, which is 15 years ahead of the EU target. And this is also adopted by the industries who have created for themselves sectoral roadmaps how to achieve this. And they do that also for circular economy, for example. So Finnish companies are already quite advanced in developing solutions to achieve these targets. And they are, of course, very keen to cooperate with Indian companies also, because really India is a key partner, key market, key research partner. So there are many things that Finnish companies value here. And I think for example, during the recent visit of Department of Science and Technology's Secretary, Professor Karandikar, to Finland, DST and Finland's innovation agency, Business Finland, agreed to plan for joint calls for research in various areas of science and technology. Okay. And I think technologies like digital technologies, advanced communications, net zero and green transition are some of the ones that are of interest to both sides here.
I again come back to this, as you said, with a strong commitment to sustainability aspect, Finnish companies in clean, renewable energy solutions are aligning with India's goals for green development. I would like to know, what is the overall assessment in this area? What is the Finnish proposition for the greater bilateral cooperation here with India, especially in these two areas where Finland leads Finnish company innovate worldwide? They are known for that, Ambassador. If you comment on this.
Well, I would say that like I said, digitalization and sustainability are the two key areas here. what we see as the thrust, and then education and innovation are like cross-cutting themes. Of course, they have contents in themselves as well, but these are the ones where we have the greatest share of investments here, and also I see the best potential for mutually beneficial cooperation. So I think it's just now important that we continue developing business connections and also connections between research institutions and so on between Finland and India.
Now back to the India and Finland bilateral relation, we of course understand you are our key partner, we are forging a strategic relationship, but despite the thirst and intention, the bilateral trade remains short of achieving its full potential, which stands around euro 3 billion now. How can it be energized, Ambassador? How can the trade increase in terms of, and what are the potential areas you look out for possibly?
Well, I would say first of all that EU-India free trade agreement would really greatly benefit also bilateral commercial cooperation and trade. So that's something that we strongly advocate from Finnish side as well. And equally important, of course, is the dialogue between Indian government to remove all, let's say, obstacles for trade, and also easing the trade in both directions between India and EU member states and in EU as a whole. And really, of course, we must prioritize enhancing business-to-business interactions, building networks, participating in trade fairs and exhibitions, also joint ventures and other things like that. And especially I see the sectors with great growth potential, such as energy, digital technology and sustainable solutions, where we have the best potential for cooperation.
And Ambassador, as I witness also, and worldwide, people know Finnish companies are innovating, especially in the telecom. And I have seen myself in some of the top universities, including the Oulu University, doing a cutting-edge research on quantum computing and also the 6G technology, nuclear energy. We also refer to our R&D cooperation in 2019, where are the opportunity unfolding. If we sum up these three advanced areas, quantum computing, 6G as a telecom, and the energy cooperation could include the nuclear cooperation as well. If you comment on this.
Yeah, indeed. If I start with quantum computing, Finland is one of the most advanced countries in the European Union, with companies like IQM, for example, Blueforce, who provide critical technologies for quantum computing. And of course, you mentioned 6G, where we have critical companies like Nokia, who is really at the forefront of developing both the 5G into more advanced stage, and then eventually 6G. And this clearly is an area where we also want to cooperate with India. And certainly, well, regarding nuclear energy, we have a cooperation arrangement since 2014 between the Finnish Radiation and Safety Authority and also the India's Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, and to enhance exchange information about best practices and that sort of things. In Finland, nuclear energy really plays a very important part in our energy mix. About 1/3 of our energy is electricity.
Part of your green energy mix.
It is. Yeah, we count that as one of the important ways to combat greenhouse gases. And we actually are one of the few countries in Europe which has taken in recent years into use new generation nuclear power plants.
And how much the Finland energy consumption mix nuclear energy is a part of?
About 1/3 nowadays.
Okay.
So it's significant.
It's significant.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, of course, we see it important both for self-sufficiency, but also from the carbon neutrality point of view. And what's also very important for the acceptability of nuclear energy in Finland is that we have taken a very responsible approach, meaning that Finland is the first country in the world which will take into use a permanent, or let's say long-term, nuclear waste storage facility. We call it Onkalo.
Ambassador, one of the key success stories of Finland, and of course we have seen that your investment in R&D is one of the highest in the world. perhaps, in terms of the data. And as you said, you have also had a MOU signed with the Indian government, which talking about doing R&D, research and development with India on multiple areas. Could you talk about a couple of areas which you have figured it out and how it is unfolding in terms of research and development? Is it about 6G? Is it on the quantum computing? Where it is unfolding it? And is it leading to some sort of applied science and it will come out in some sort of result and development? If you talk about such progress,
Yeah. Right. I think perhaps the most concrete area is the cooperation in 5G and 6G technologies, where Nokia is a key player, also here in India. For Nokia, really, India is one of the most important markets nowadays, but also a key place for both R&D and manufacturing. And we are very pleased that for example, in June this year, Nokia and the Gati Shakti Vishwadalya GSV, a university under the Ministry of Railways, signed an agreement regarding 5G and 6G communications in transportation and logistics sector. But I think also very important in this field is that the Finnish 6G flagship project, perhaps we should say it, signed an MOU with the Bharat 6G Alliance to enhance cooperation, not just at the technology level, but also at the policy and standardization level. And these are, I think, very important technologies for the future here.
As you mentioned, the Finnish universities are taking lead and collaborating with the Indian universities. Is some of them, which I know is IIT Delhi, and in that direction you're talking about some of the areas they're really collaborating on the advanced technology which you mentioned.
Yes, indeed. We have some key universities like University of Oulu for 5 and 6G, but then we also have, let's say, Aalto University in Helsinki for the quantum and other technologies. VTT is another research institution that is very important
and
here.
You have, as you mentioned, Ambassador, some of the remarkable universities there within the Helsinki. Are they funded by, if I would like to know for the interest of the audience, funded by the government, and how they generate this amount of research? Is it funded by the government or the private partners, and how they build up this ecosystem in this country which innovates so much?
Well, I think government funding, of course, is essential as the basis for work, but they are able to attract also quite a bit of private funding as well, and that's very important. That as Finland is aiming at investing about 4% of GNP to R&D in the coming years. There's even a law for that. But only a part of it is coming from the government or public coffers, and the rest is coming from private sources.
Ambassador, let's back to the trade talks, between India and Finland, and the larger context, rather India and EU, the European Union, because you are the part of that group. And you said this is important, a building block for have a greater bilateral trade to increase the volume, basically. We also understand that talks have been off and on, and it's stalled, and it has progressed, but it's again stalled. So this kind of cycle is going on. Having said that, we share, in fact, Finland and India as a similar democratic values. India is the largest democracy in the world, and Finland thrives on the democratic values, Ambassador. Where do you see this FTA going ahead, and how can Finland look at these opportunity of having FTA with India and having a greater trade strategic relationship marching towards the next direction at the next level?
Well, first of all, I think the latest round of negotiations took place here in Delhi a couple of weeks ago. And now I think it's key to see how we can cross the differences in views in the coming months when the new European Commission is taking office. So I hope that early next year then there could be again political level talks which hopefully put more, let's say, momentum into the negotiations. And really, as you say, India and EU share values of democracy and rule of law, human rights, and I think we are convinced of the necessity to preserve the rules-based international order and multilateralism. I think those are key issues for the world, especially in present situation. And we do have a lot of common interests in each other's security, prosperity, and sustainable development. And really, I do think that the EU has a lot to offer to India, and I hope that the full potential can be realized.
And do you see that this FTA unfolding soon, or if you have any timeline to define such progress?
Difficult to say yet. I think we still need to see how things can be taken forward, and I think the new Commission on the European side is in a key position to define the way ahead.
Okay. Ambassador, from the thread, it is important to talk about the security dimension and how the geopolitics is shaping, especially security cooperation with India and Finland certainly reflects the greater depth of our strategic cooperation. Finnish companies are innovative and keen to collaborate, especially in security as well. How is it unfolding? What are the opportunities for setting up military industrial ecosystem in India? Could you talk about some of the collaboration? What are the areas of expertise where Indian entities even could look out for Finnish companies, and this could be a bilateral security, military, industrial cooperation, which is perhaps the win-win situation for the both democracies? How do you look at such opportunity? And if you have some of the example which you can talk about, if I can recall, we have the one Finnish company in the gun system which have collaborated with India. It is one of the success story perhaps you can talk about, Ambassador.
Well,
Kimmo.
Perhaps I would start with the fact that we do have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding of Cooperation in the fields of research, development, production and procurement of defense-related equipment and industry cooperation. That was signed here in Delhi in January 2020. And this MOU opens the door for collaboration between Finnish companies and Indian defense public sector undertakings. But Finnish companies really are renowned for their innovations. And they are also interested to partner with Indian entities across the various sectors. And I believe that perhaps the most significant areas for cooperation are, for example, cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, and also research and development. So I really would encourage Indian companies to engage with Finnish companies to explore these possibilities.
Okay. Furthering the questions towards your security dimensions, and there's a larger debate about that. Of course, Finland has been known as a country who proposes peace. As a leader in the Nordic countries, historically we have known Finland's position as a country of peace and neutrality. Despite your entry into the NATO, which is geopolitical ramification of that, will your stance and fight for the peace and neutrality will remain?
Yes, indeed. I think, of course, it was a significant change in our security policy that we became members of NATO. But overall, our foreign policy will stay pretty much the same, and we do certainly keep the same goals that we have traditionally had for peace and security and development in the world. And I think this is something that we have found very important, and what the present government will continue to do.
And in the same line, during my interaction with the former Foreign Minister, Mr. Pekka Haavisto, and also the words of Prime Minister, that Finland also stands for the rule-based system worldwide, and it supports the international trade, international navigation, rule of laws. In this whole dimension and debate, how do you look at what is the Finnish proposition for the Indo-Pacific concept, which other countries also talking about, the friends and partners also talking about? What is your take on the Indo-Pacific? How do you align India, especially on the Indo-Pacific concept, or do you have certain concept within your framework of the foreign policies, Ambassador Kimmo, on this?
Well, I would say, first of all, that as you say, rules-based international order and international law is something crucial for a small country like Finland. And regarding Indo-Pacific region, I think it really is an area of increasing importance in global affairs, and particularly regarding trade and security and sustainable development. And there are existing frameworks like ASEAN and BIMSTEC and other cooperation forums, which I think will be more and more important as discussion forums and taking, let's say, forward solutions that help to solve these common challenges. And certainly, I think India, as a prominent regional and global player, has a crucial role to play here, fostering collaboration on issues such as security and also economic development. And I think really by working together we can tackle shared challenges and also promote peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific.
Ambassador, thank you so much for explaining. And towards the end, it's important to understand India is a country with a young, bright student, and they wish to study globally in one of the best universities around the world. Their quest for studying has taken them to your country, Finland, which is known for their innovation, high standard of education, greater investment in the R&D. How attractive, when you say, is for the Indian student, the bright one, to go and study in the university in Finland, in university like Helsinki, in university in the Oulu? Could you talk about the such opportunity which Finland attracts and proposes for the Indian students, for the brightest one, to go and contribute and learn?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And certainly perhaps I can start with the fact that you already mentioned Finland's impressive ranking in the Global Innovation Index, for example. Also, I think what is quite amazing actually is Finland's ranking in Happiness Index, where we have topped the index rating for 7 years in a row already.
Indeed, Ambassador.
And so I believe that one thing, what is quite important in Finland is the work-life balance, which seems to be fairly good in the opinion of many who have moved there. But certainly a high-quality education and I would say also welcoming atmosphere for international students is really important. And talent mobility is actually also one of the key areas where the Embassy and Business Finland in India are working to attract both experts but also students to Finland. And we have very good cooperation in many fields. We also have, for example, a memorandum of understanding between a consortium of 10 Finnish universities and 23 Indian institutes of technology, covering the period of 2020 to 2025 for cooperation in the higher education sector. So I really think that there are a lot of potential for Indian students in Finnish institutions, where they can really gain valuable skills and experiences in a very diverse and innovative academic setting.
And Ambassador, if I continue asking you very briefly, having learned and studied in the university in Finland, will they get to work in the Finnish companies? How are the opportunities unfolding in this area? How does Finnish company look out for Indian students who have studied there, and what are the opportunities there?
Well, I guess people and students will always have different experiences. For some it has worked very well, but some have encountered difficulties. And I think this is something that also Finnish companies continue to develop, how they can best, let's say, attract the best talents that are graduating from Finnish universities. And certainly I think English is a common language also in Finland, widely spoken and used by international companies. But our national languages, Finnish and the other national language, Swedish, are small languages. And also, if especially one wants to stay for a longer period and integrate well into the society, the knowledge of those languages is important.
Ambassador Kimmo Lähdevirta, one of the things which we discussed initially and very interesting with some of the cooperation between India is a coin in the world called DAISY. Could you define it broadly? You think it is one of the pioneer concepts from Finland within the EU, which will be a game changer? What is all about, Ambassador, the DAISY, which you mentioned?
DAISY is actually anchored to the joint declaration that our prime ministers gave when they met in 2021. And really, its aim is to create and crystallize the areas where we see the best potential for cooperation. Like I said, digitalization, education, sustainability, and innovation. And that I think encompasses basically most areas that we actively work on at the embassy. And also, I think nowadays we have talent mobility as perhaps the fifth equally important area here. So I think it is like perhaps as marketing tool is the best way to describe DAISY, because it really puts forward in a very concrete way the offering that Finland has here in India.
Thank you. And Ambassador, before I conclude my session and deliberation, I need to ask you, this is a remarkable question, and it's all about understanding. It is more philosophical in nature in terms of where you have the concept of modernity and development, and you talk about the nature and preserving our environment for the future generation. Finland does it right way. It's a way of life, how you manage not to cut down your forest, so you have the largest 70%, something about 60 to 75% of the forested area in neutral carbon environment to thrive. How does you do it? How do you do it, Ambassador? And this is the last word, but important to understand. This is a message important for the generation today and the future, for the environment, for the country, and for worldwide.
Well, perhaps I can start with the fact that Finland's land area is quite large in European standards, and especially compared to the population, which is quite small, only about 5.5 million. So we have a lot of space in Finland, and like you said, about 3/4 of the land area is covered by forest. We also have a lot of lakes, around almost 200,000 lakes in Finland. So nature is close to us, and somehow I think Finns have learned to live with the nature and close to nature. But equally important is the high level of education, and people really appreciate nature, but also what is required to keep the nature as it is, and not to destroy it. So education is the basis, but then also since early on we have had legislation, for example, for the preservation of forests. So whenever forest is cut, new forest must be planted instead of it. And that really is one of the key areas. And also, of course, the development of technologies has been very important. Our lakes and rivers used to be in fairly bad condition in the 60s and 70s. But as awareness was raised and also technology developed, now the situation is quite different. So there are many factors in play, and these are long-term processes which are of course helped that we are a small country.
Indeed, indeed. It's a pleasure to have you, Ambassador Kimmo Lähdevirta, Ambassador of Finland to India. I thank you so much, and the message is remarkable in the quest of modernity and technology, how the Finns do take care of the environment and sustainability for the future generation. Thank you so much. This is Manish Kumar signing off from Sansad TV.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.